Okay, this is a video on this part, the more complicated part, part 3. And like always, we're going to stop here for a moment and strategize. So there's multiple strategies. We can use a additive approach or subtractive approach. I am visualizing a subtractive approach where we create a block that is the size of the length and the height of this whole part, kind of a rectangle like this, okay, which is 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and then we will extrude that the full depth, okay, which was going to be 1/2 inch plus 1.5 inch plus another half for a total of 2.5. Okay, so we're going to make a rectangle in Fusion that is 3.5 by 2.5. Okay, and then we're going to extrude that 2.5 as well. Okay, and then we're going to come back and we're going to start to make some cuts. We'll cut out this shelf, and we'll come back and we'll cut out the 2 notches. Okay, I'm going to start a new part, and I'm going to start with a 2D sketch in the upper left hand corner. I'll pick a plane. I'll pick this plane, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. Take the rectangle tool, start at the origin, and I'm going to make a rectangle that is 3.5 by 2.5. All right. Now I'm done with that sketch. I'm going to click finished, and I'm going to extrude that by taking the extrude tool in the upper left hand corner, and I want to make that 2.5 inches thick. Okay, so there's the base block that we're going to cut the rest of the part out. So let's go back and check in with our drawing. Okay, so to get this this shelf, okay, I can see that the height of this shelf right here is 1 inch, and the total height is 2.5 inches. Okay, so that means this side right here is 1.5 inches high, right? Because the total is 2.5 minus the 1 inch high shelf. That means what's left over is 1.5. Okay, and that makes this final longer shelf. Okay, if the whole piece is 3.5, and we come up here and we can see this top sort of ear here is 1 inch. That means this shelf is 2.5. Okay, and the height here, one more time, was 1.5. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a rectangle that's 2.5 by 1.5 on the part that we have. And then we're going to do an extrude cut. We're going to cut that piece off. Okay, so here I am back in Fusion, and I want to cut that, or I want to draw that rectangle on this front face here, and then extrude cut it. So I'm going to start with the sketch tool, and then I'm going to choose this face, because I want to draw the rectangle on that face. You could use your scroll wheel and your mouse to kind of zoom out and then zoom in. It follows your mouse, so be mindful of where your mouse is pointed when you zoom in and out. And that's kind of one way to kind of steer around your part. So I'm going to come up and take the rectangle tool. I will start the rectangle in the top left corner, and I'm going to make it 2.5 inch in its long dimension by 1.5 inch in its shorter dimension. So 2.5, I'll press tab, 1.5. Okay, so that this rectangle right here represents the slice that I want to cut out. I am done with my 2D sketch. I'm going to click Finish Sketch, and then I'll come over to the View Cube and press the Home button. Okay. Now I drew on kind of the back side of this, which is okay. I'm gonna come over to the View Cube, click on it, and use it to rotate around just so I can see. And now I want to choose this rectangle and cut it with an extrude. So I'll come up to the extrude tool, select it, select this rectangle. The arrow kind of shows the direction it wants to extrude, because remember, we can add material, but I'm going to grab that arrow, I'm going to click and just kind of start it the other direction to tell it I want to cut, not add. And then I'll come over to the extrude menu, and I'll choose an extent, which is the distance we want to cut. I'll choose all, because I want to cut through everything. Okay, we get a little preview. I'll click OK, and that's good, right? This is getting closer to what I want. Okay, so we know we have a notch in the top and a notch on the front here to cut out. So let's go check in with the drawing. Okay, so I'm going to try the top notch, and I can see that the notch is pretty much a rectangle that's cut out. We can draw on this front, on this face here, and extrude cut that out. And I can see the longer edge of that rectangle is going to be 1.5 inches. And I can see here on the side that's going to be 1/2 inch deep. So I'm going to draw a rectangle that's 1.5 by 1/2. Center it. Okay. And we can see in this dimension, the edge of the rectangle, that edge right here, is 1/2 inch from the edge of the whole part. So we can use that to position the rectangle correctly. Okay. So I'll show you that. 1.5 by 1/2. Okay, so we want to draw on this face right here. I'm going to choose the sketch tool and choose this front flat face to draw on. Okay, it orients itself. Going to come up to the rectangle tool, and I'm going to start on that top edge and draw a rectangle that is 1.5. I'll press tab and 0.5. Okay. So that notch is the right size, but I want to make sure it's in the right position as well, which is 1/2 inch from the left edge here. So I'm going to choose the dimension tool, and I'll select the one edge of my rectangle and the edge of my part. And that can come up and place the 0.5 dimension. And that shifts that rectangle to be in the right spot. Okay, I'm going to click Finish Sketch. I'm done with that. And here I can see this rectangle is defined. And I'm going to use that to drive a extrude cut. Once again, so I'm going to take the extrude tool, select it, select that rectangle. Going to grab the arrow and just kind of start it in the cutting direction. And then I can come over to the sub menu, the extrude menu, and choose extent all. That way it cuts the whole way through, and press OK. And there we have it, that upper notch. Okay. All right, almost done. Okay, we got to cut a notch out here in the front. So let's go check in with the drawing. Okay, I can see this front notch has a dimension of 1.5 inches deep, and we can see here it is 0.5 inches. So we can draw a rectangle that's 1/2 inch by 1.5 inch. The edge of this rectangle is 1 inch from the edge of the part, and then we can extrude cut that down through the part. Okay, so 1.5 inch by 1/2 inch, inch from the edge, and then we'll cut it through. Okay, I'm going to choose this front face. I'm going to go up and choose my sketch tool. Click on the this top face here, not front, top face. And then I'm going to come over up to the sketch tool again and choose the rectangle drawing tool. I'm going to start here on the right side, and on this top face, I'm going to draw a rectangle that was 1.5 tab by 0.5 inches. Okay. There's that rectangle. Okay. I don't know if it's centered yet, so I'm going to choose my dimension tool. And remember the one edge, we can select the edge of it and select the edge of the whole part, and we know that dimension was 1 inch. Okay. All right, there we go. It shifted the rectangle to be in the exact correct position. We'll click Finish Sketch. Okay. And we can see here we have the rectangle we need, that we can drive that extrusion down. So I'm going to select the Extrude tool, select that top face. I'll grab the arrow and start to move it into the cut direction, and then I'll choose an extent of all. Finish that cut, and there you have it. That piece exactly, precisely modeled. Okay, that is ready for manufacture. Okay, be sure to save when you are finished. I believe this was part 3. I'm sorry, exercise 4.2, part 3.